finding life a bit complex? Confusing? Aware that your old strategies aren't working? Why not ask Pam and Marilyn? This is The Irreverent Therapists, and we're here to add some clarity, humor, and a bit of what might be considered blasphemy to your day.
Hello, everyone, and welcome to The Irreverent Therapists. I'm Marilyn Bradford, and I do believe that Pam Holteling is playing hooky today, irreverent, irresponsible. As far as I can tell, she's actually probably soaking her body somewhere. Wait a minute, I'm trying to do something here. I'm having a little technical glitch. Okay, let's add this. And we should have our whole crew, I'm thinking. Are you with us, Christy? Okay. Well, are you with us, Julie?
I am.
Okay.
And we're using carrier pigeon messaging to get downstairs.
Carrier pigeon messaging.
I'm sending her brother down with a message to say.
Okay, because it looks like she's connecting. But anyway, I am thrilled today to have Christy Perkins and Julie Perkins as my guests, and we're talking today about when teens speak, are you listening? Now, why would we have that kind of a topic? Because, I don't know, this came up for me a while ago. I was looking around. I've worked with teens, as you all know, I'm a psychotherapist, and I've worked with a lot of teens, and what's always occurred to me is that they don't seem to be, she's asking if she should join the call. Yes, join the call. They don't seem to be listened to. They seem to be the group of people that is the most sort of generalized about, stereotyped. Does that make sense to you, Julie?
Oh, absolutely. And I know that even in our house, it was a big deal when we first noticed that she would start talking and then we were all talking over her. It was like, oh, look at that. What are we doing? It's like we can't even hear her.
Yeah. Are you on, Christy, now?
Yes, I am on.
So
Sorry
funny.
about that.
When teens talk and we had trouble, right? Are we willing?
Yeah, we couldn't even get her on to talk.
So, all right, that's my technical stuff, and I apologize. But here we go. Here's a write-up. Many people discount teenagers, assuming teens are only interested in friends, music, and video games. What do teens actually have to say about politics, relationships, and the bigger questions of life? What really matters to them, and what can we learn from them? So I'm thrilled to have you all today. Christy Perkins is an artist, creative writer, musician, singer, songwriter who loves to play all kinds of stringed instruments, including ukulele, all kinds of guitars, piano, keyboard. I think we ought to have you on a show just with music, Christy. I'm totally impressed.
I would love that.
She facilitates teens struggling to be who they truly are, especially those who are self-destructive, addicted, or just plain lost. Is now the time for something different? Absolutely. Feel free to contact her via Teens Done Different radio show, which is www.facebook.com/Teens Done Different. She does a radio show, which I think is just awesome. And her mom, Julie Perkins, is a certified life coach specializing in mind, body, soul well-being. Hundreds have benefited from her conversations of change that result in a rebirth of natural, intuitive abilities and zest for life on the planet here and now. You'll find her most at peace out in nature, where she takes clients to show them different perspectives, possibilities, and choices. If you could change anything in your life, what would it be? Find out more at www.julieoperkins.com. So welcome to both of you, and thank you so much for joining.
Oh, thank you so much for having us.
Yes, Marilyn, thank you.
I just almost don't even know where to start because there's so many topics. So I guess I'll just start, Christy, by asking you, here's a bunch of questions. If you had one thing you'd like people to know about teens currently, what would it be? And what do you consider teens' most or greatest concerns? And can we maybe just start off with that and anything else you'd like to talk about?
Absolutely. I find that a lot of people think that teens, they don't have anything to say and they're just out, all the time with their friends, being reckless troublemakers. And the truth is that even if there is a teen who is a reckless troublemaker, they have something to say. I have a lot of friends who are just kind of weird, wacky people, and, even the worst of them have something to say. Teens always have lovely things to talk about and to bring people's awareness to. So yeah, there is a lot of concerns with teens. One of our biggest concerns, I can't speak for every teen in the entire world. But in my experience, I find that teens, most people say, oh, well, teens aren't interested in what's going on in the real adult world. It's like, I know more of my teen friends that are interested in politics and, revolution or what's going on in the world and new beginnings with, different countries and everything and different political structures. There's so much in the quote adult world that we actually care about. And there's this whole world of creativity with us that nobody thinks to ask about,
You mean like the music you do and...
Absolutely. Yeah. I have some of the most talented, lovely friends who enjoy music and just creating anything. I have a lot of artist friends, a lot of musician friends, a lot of friends who do all kinds of different artsy things. And it's just, we're so interested in the world and we're so amazed by it.
Well, and you were talking about, it makes total sense that you would be interested in what's going on because you have a future.
Yeah.
And how is that going to look? And what do you and most of your friends see as possible with a future? What are the real concerns about the future? What do you see the rest of us wacky adults doing that may not be actually creating the greatest for you all?
I believe in a future where there's absolute equality for every person, every race. I would like to see the end of racism. I would like to see the end of all of those problems like in Ferguson. I actually participated in a peaceful protest down at the Denver Capitol in Colorado.
Cool.
And it's just things like that. I'm an active feminist. I believe in the social, economical, and political equality of the sexes. I believe in gay marriage and transgendered rights. And that goes for any queer rights in general, whether it be, non-binary, etc. So me and a lot of my, sorry, I'm kind of rambling, but I'm just...
No, but the sense is a world where there isn't discrimination, where
Absolutely.
People are not judged by anything.
Yes,
yeah.
Yes. I know a lot of my friends that believe in social class, the dissolving of social classes. And yeah.
Well, because that gives each individual not just the right to be who they are, but the right to be related to as who they are rather than putting something on them. And, I really believe that teens hold the key here. I remember, because when I grew up, there was still quite a bit of discrimination, particularly with people of, it was all, but people of color, that was just rampant. And I remember a friend of mine had kids, and this was maybe, Shannon must be in her 30s now, so we're talking 15, 20 years ago. But she had a whole group of friends, and they were all different races and all different colors and all different sexual orientations, and nobody had the judgment. It's really interesting to me how much judgment seems to come from adults down.
Mm-hmm.
You know, it's almost like a behavior that's impelled on people.
Absolutely.
Yeah. So that's very cool.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, it's really exciting to live in a.
Oh, can you hear me? Hello? We just lost the sound. Hello?
And I can still hear you.
Okay. Sorry.
Okay.
Yeah, she's back.
Well, I don't know what happened. Yeah. All right. So what were you saying, Christy?
It's really exciting to live in a world where there's so much peaceful revolution and new, growing, the growth of a more peaceful, accepting world, or at least in like America, and I see it all around the world too. It's exciting. It's
exciting. So what about, do you have concerns about the earth? I mean, there's been so much talk recently about how, we may not have much more time. And I just realized I'm asking you this question when we have about 30 seconds left. So maybe we should save that till after break. But I know that certainly my awareness has been raised recently about what's going on with the earth. A lot of people say that they're only, we only have 10 to 30 years left before the damage is so great that there's no going back. So when we come back from break, we'll hear from Christy Perkins, amazing teen, and some from her mother, Julie, and just about what's going on with teens. Thank you.
Feed your soul with waves of consciousness on OMTimes Radio.
Hi, my name is Monica and I'm the host of Co-Creating Now. Give yourself an opportunity to connect with your all-knowing higher self and manifest joy, love and peace together every Tuesday, 11 a.m. Eastern.
Being a radio host on IOM-FM allows you to build your show on a rich platform with the power of the internet to fulfill your outreach goals and connect with a very specialized and global online audience, unlimited by time and distance. OMTimes Radio will provide you with web relevance, a recognizable conscious brand, and with the standard of excellence that has accompanied every single OMTimes endeavor. Host your show with OMTimes Radio Network. As difficult as it is to believe, there are places in Africa where human traffickers sell albino children and their body parts for use in magic rituals. Humanity Healing International is actively working in Uganda to change this paradigm. The Albino Rescue Project finds albino children who are at risk and places them in safe schools and environments where they can learn and grow free from fear. To learn more or to sponsor a child, visit humanityhealing.org. Humanity Healing is where your heart is.
Live with medium Lisa Phoenix, Mediumship Messages and Musings, explores mediumship and all things metaphysical. Lisa Phoenix invites you to reach above and beyond your everyday experiences, to explore new dimensions in the spirit world. She will do live readings to connect callers to their loved ones in spirit, shares engaging stories and teachings from her own personal experience, and will have intriguing conversations with other mediums, spiritual teachers, and healers to help you understand the metaphysical world so you can connect to these forces in your day-to-day life. Join your host on this magical and metaphysical journey into the world of spirit every Sunday at 1 p.m. Eastern Time.
Conscious media for conscious minds. OMTimes.
Hello Welcome back. I'm Marilyn Bradford with the Irreverent Therapist, and we have Christy Perkins, amazing teen, talking about what teens are really interested, what concerns them, and her mother, Julie Perkins. And we were just talking about the earth before we went to break. So I was wondering, I'd love to hear from you, Christy, what you know, what concerns you, what's possible.
I do know that a lot is going on with the earth right now, and there's it's just like there's so much that we can go into. There is a lot of oil spills recently, and even more crazy, just terrible things, all kinds of burns, and just government controlled operations on the earth that make no sense. And, building of more highways and buildings, taking up the whole land. And I am concerned about the earth, but I also do believe that there's thousands and thousands of organizations that are working really, really hard to take care of the earth. And me and my mom, actually, Mom, I don't know if you remember with WRV, I think it's Wildlands Restoration Volunteers. Mm-hmm. They're based out of Colorado, and we did a lot of fantastic work with them, reintroducing native plants. And there's small things that are going on all around the earth, and I think that if the government pays more attention to that and the public pays more attention to that and keeps funding that as opposed to funding more.
Hello? Okay, can you hear me? Hello? Gosh. Hello. Okay. All right, we're back on. I don't know what this is. I don't know whose computer or what, but never mind. Thank you. Okay, so one of the things that I often get from people is, that's fine to be so idealistic. I was idealistic in my youth too, but you got to be real. But my sense is that's not true.
Yeah. Good sense. Yeah.
You've got to have those what's called idealistic goals. You have to be aware of what's possible, or all you do is to sink into what's already there. Mm-hmm. And take your place. So I love that. And, you said, well, they're small things. But for me, that's the way everything gets done. It's each of us doing those small things. And one of them may just be listening to your teens, seeing what really matters to them rather than generalizing about it. And I'd love to hear from you, Julie, because you've obviously raised this amazing daughter. Just any words of wisdom for parents? What do you think's going on with parents?
Well, I think you hit the nail on the head earlier, Marilyn, when you said that these things are passed on. So I don't really think that, my point of view is that I don't think parents enter into parenting with the goal of limiting their kids. They're just doing what they've been taught and modeled and shown. Mm-hmm, mm-hmm. And if they're not shown anything different, then it just kind of gets passed down like with the family treasures.
Right.
It's like, hey, here you go. Here's an old quilt. And this is how you do things, by the way.
Yeah.
So in Christy's particular case, I actually think that she raised me a lot in a lot of ways. She shows up and she's always showing me different things. From the very beginning, she's had a great love of the earth, and I think the way that she does little things for the earth is always by being that joy and happiness. As a young kid, she always walked around saying, this is the best day ever.
Oh, cool. Yeah.
Or it'd be like, oh, this is the best bike ride ever. This is the best ice cream cone ever. And so that happiness was really a contribution to herself, to the earth, just that joy, just really being that presence. And she loves to go camping. She's done a lot of work with Girl Scouts, and we've done a lot of work outside, like she said, with the Wildlands Restoration Volunteer. So basically how she raised me was just showing me whatever it is she required.
And you paid attention. I can't believe I'm lost again. Hello? Can you hear me?
3, I can. I can hear you.
We've never had this problem before. Hello? Still?
Yeah, I think we're
Okay.
good.
Okay.
All right. And so can you hear me now, too?
Yes.
Yeah, and this is not unusual for Christy and I to pull this much earth energy in and to have, like, some of this happen. So let's just,
all
like...
right, we'll just go in with it.
Yeah, to be a contribution to all this. So,
Well,
yeah.
And
Christy raised me, and I just follow her.
Two ways I want to go with here. And the first is what you were talking about, her joy. I mean, people don't get, this is sort of off of teens in a way, but people don't get that what they be energetically totally affects the earth.
Yeah.
I mean, if you're negative, I'm going to kill those. I mean, that's like, you want to, recycling is fine. You want to be a contribution, be happy. Because, they even know plants grow when people are happy. They die when people are angry. I mean, this may seem a little weird, but it's crucial. The other thing, I really appreciated what you said, Julie, about how it's kind of passed down. And when I've looked at the whole teen thing, what seems to me is that it's almost like up until they're teenagers, kids have a better chance of being looked at or giving freedoms, being looked at for who they really are. But then there's this sort of odd, it's almost like, they're just young adults that we have to mold into fitting into our families and cultures and religions and society. So get busy, kids, and, fit in, figure out how you're going to fit in.
Mm-hmm.
And choose one of these roles and choose one of these professions that we've decided upon.
Mm-hmm.
I just, and it's all sense of who you really are and what you're really interested stops for a lot of kids. And I just wanted to tell, I had an interview once with the son of a friend. I think he was 17 at the time. And she's an artist, and he was raised with a lot of possibilities and options, but his friends weren't. And they were all smoking a lot of pot, and they know I don't have a real point of view about drugs except that, be aware, see what it does. They're illegal just from that kind of thing. But also from the point of view that, something's going on if somebody's choosing to do a lot of drugs. So rather than it's wrong, bad, and terrible, what's going on? So we were talking about that. And he said, finally, he and his mother and I had been talking for about an hour. And I was asking, like, school. He says, look, Marilyn, we go in with a creative idea. We're told that's not in the syllabus. We want to do something different. We're told you're wasting your time. And what it really came down to is this phrase, this is the way it is, deal with it. He said, and we see our parents in the backyard. They're not, now he wasn't talking about his, but they're getting drunk. They're not happy. We don't want this life. And I was like, wow, no wonder you're smoking dope. But so Christy, I really wonder how what does that bring up? Does that ring any bells for you? Or was that something you've come across? Or
Absolutely. It's like, it's just like, thank you for talking about this, because it feels like someone actually understands now, why there's so many teens out there that are, just self-destructing and doing drugs and being just really stuck and brought down by the whole world. And I live surrounded by people like that, friends like that, and very, very close people like that. And it definitely makes sense to me because it's always been there. And, it's just, I have no words. You explained it perfectly. It's like, sorry. It's like, teens, they go and they try to bring up all these new ideas and these new inventions and these very creative, artistic, beautiful things into the world. And it's just shut down. Like, oh, you're just a kid. You guys don't matter, and go ruin the economy or something, do something that we did, it just, that seems like it's well, that's all that matters is politics and the economy and how you're going to keep your money. And I was always told that I can't be a musician because I would make no money and I would end up homeless and a drug addict because I was a musician. And
wow.
like,
Not by me.
No, I'm sure that's true, Julie. Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah, but listen to that messaging, right?
Yeah.
I mean, we tell them to hurry up, grow up.
And what does grow up mean anyway?
Grow up.
What does that mean? Well, grow up enough to fit in. Grow up or get serious about this reality. You've just been playing. Now it's time to get to work.
Yes.
Roll up your sleeves. And, I remember Christy at a very young age, she would, say, well, why don't I get to do that? And and I've been guilty of saying things like messaging like, well, you're not an adult. And then she would put her hands on her hips, and she was still quite young, and say, when do I get to be adult?
Wow, adult, exactly.
Because she couldn't say an adult. And I was like, wow, how powerful is that? When do I get to be adult? Well, maybe that's what we are as grown-ups, adults.
Yeah, exactly, exactly. And it just, it seems like a real travesty to not actually relate to the being in front of you, which is what I heard you talking about earlier, Christy, that you basically with the equality, it's about relating to the being in front of you as a being, regardless of age. And I think that's another one. We've talked about all of the, the racial stuff and the gender stuff, but I think age is one of the biggest ways for discrimination there is. And we're about to go to break. And so when we come back, we'll talk more with Christy and Julie. All righty.
Bringing a more conscious lifestyle to your world. OMTimes Radio. IOM FM.
What if living didn't have to be so serious?
What if you could move beyond your problems with greater confidence and ease than you've ever imagined?
Throw your labels out the window and join the Irreverent Therapist for practical tips and a very different way of approaching the changes you would like to create.
Marilyn Bradford
and Pam Hodling
have empowered hundreds of people to come out of self-judgment, quit looking to experts, and begin to create the lives they desire.
Join us Wednesdays at 7 p.m. Eastern on the Irreverent Therapist Show.
Being a radio host on IOM FM allows you to build your show on a rich platform with the power of the internet to fulfill your outreach goals and connect with a very specialized and global online audience, unlimited by time and distance. OMTimes Radio will provide you with web relevance, a recognizable conscious brand, and with the standard of excellence that has accompanied every single OMTimes endeavor. Host your show with OMTimes Radio Network. The number one reason girls drop out of school in sub-Saharan Africa is lack of access to feminine hygiene products. The Pads for Schoolgirls Project, an outreach of Humanity Healing International, is changing this paradigm by setting up sewing programs at schools, teaching girls a vocational skill, while producing the reusable pads that help keep them attending classes. The girls pay it forward by making and giving pad kits to other girls in need. To learn more, visit humanityhealing.org. Humanity Healing is where your heart is.
Do you want to be a better communicator? Do you want to better connect with the important people in your life? Do you want to enrich your relationships? If so, join me, Matthew Cooper, on the Positive Control System Show every Wednesday evening at 11 o'clock p.m. Eastern Standard Time on OMTimes Radio. I'll meet you there.
The best of the holistic, spiritual, and conscious world. OMTimes Radio. IOM FM.
Welcome back, everyone. I'm Marilyn Bradford, and we have Christy Perkins and Julie Perkins with us today, and we're talking about when teens speak, are you listening? And right before break, we brought up the age thing, like what can young people possibly know? And I was sort of contemplating that during the break, and one of the things I realized is we are one of the few countries, I guess, well, I would say, I don't know, probably most of Europe too, but most of the world, and I'm not saying this is right or wrong, but it's sort of interesting how it influences the age thing, has a sense of past lives. Whereas in America and, quote, normal Christian, Judaic kinds of countries, that doesn't exist. There's a sense that we were born and then we die. And what that seems to lead to is this linear idea that wisdom and all of that only comes from aging. In other words, a 3-year-old couldn't know anything. And a 13-year-old or an 18-year-old couldn't know anything. And a 70-year-old probably knows all than everybody combined. And even if you don't go with past lives, the insanity of that, this sort of linearity of thinking and experience is what actually brings people knowing or wisdom, rather than you can just know, So I'm not sure where that's going. I really am getting too that as a parent, all the places that I've done, and I put the pressure on myself to teach her because she doesn't know. Right. And there was so much freedom in saying, well, wait a minute, she does really know. Mm-hmm. Yeah. How about making it easier for both of us and just asking her what she knows? Yeah, and asking a question. What do you know, Christy? Yeah. We were talking about when teens speak, are you listening? But do we ever actually ask them questions? Like, what do you know about this? And knowing from the point of view of, knowing can be like book knowledge, but it can also be, Uncle Joe is sleazy. How can you say that about your Uncle Joe? Mm-hmm. Well, kids know. They're willing to be aware, but we don't tend to listen to them. Or, yeah. Is that what you found, Christy, or found with your friends? Or?
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, so it's... Hello, can you hear me?
Yeah.
Oh, yeah, okay. So, Christy?
Can you hear me?
Yeah, I know. We're back to that a bit. Yeah.
Oh my gosh.
I know that when we were talking about your bio, you were talking about that you do particularly work with teens who are self-destructive or alcohol and drug stuff. Is there anything that you'd like to say about that? Anything you'd like to say for parents? Or?
Oh my gosh, where do
you begin? I know. But I think this is critical because you guys are the future,
I was just talking to my mom about this upstairs a few minutes ago. This is something that needs to be talked about. It can't be taboo anymore, and we can't be made wrong anymore, because you think if a 40-year-old was addicted to heroin or meth, you'd go get them help, and you need to go to the rehab or the rehab center, and we'll take care of you, and it's all going to be okay. And I know 19-year-olds who are meth and heroin addicts, and they have no support. Wow. Everybody says, "Oh, well, it's just a stupid kid. You need to go. Where's your mom? Go figure this out with your parents. You're just going to become homeless and, stupid for the rest of your life." There's no support system.
I was not aware of that, actually. And it's, wow. So it's like
you even use the words, Christy, that, they were told things like, it's a phase.
It's a phase.
It's a phase. Just, you'll get out of it. And you're still just being a teen. You're still being a kid about it.
So they're not being taken seriously.
Yes. When a teen is so deeply under pressure or troubled or just heavy and stuck that they're going behind closed doors and staying there and staying alone and isolated from everybody and choosing self-destruction, destroying their body with alcohol, drugs, cutting, burning, scratching, whatever it is they choose to escape. That needs to stop being associated with getting back at parents or trying to be rebellious or just doing it because it's cool.
Yes. Good point.
Absolutely. And, there is, I know, some younger kids that they're cutting and drinking and smoking because it's cool, but that also needs to stop. They think that it's cool because it's appropriated.
Yeah.
It's like, oh, well, it's just a phase. Teens just do it anyways, so
you're cutting out a bit. Can you hear me?
We're losing you again.
Sorry. Oh my gosh.
Okay. Well, what you're talking about is really important and really intense. It's so easy to it's like teens get dismissed left and right.
Mm-hmm.
But, like we were talking, I think we were talking right before the show, if someone's doing a lot of alcohol or drugs or cutting, you've got to ask a question like, what's not okay with their life that's what they would turn to? What can we change here? What are they experiencing that they think the best they can have is, a bottle of scotch or cocaine or ecstasy or whatever?
Absolutely. When an older person gets into really bad things, we always ask those questions. We always say, well, oh, what can we do for you? You need to go to rehab, etc. Yeah. And, when a 13-year-olds and even 12-year-olds are popping pills and smoking and drinking and being just absolutely melting and self-destructing with every day going by, don't you think that that's something that we should be paying attention to, Like, that's,
Absolutely. Well, and I thinking about this, it's like, it's so easy for people to sort of abdicate responsibility. Oh, well, it's the parents' responsibility. They should deal with it. Mm-hmm. But there are a lot of parents out there that won't deal with it.
Yep.
Right. I was just going to say there's a lot of separation going on, and having been guilty of that myself, I've tried everything from control, swooping in and chaining myself to her side, saying that I'm going to be with you 24 hours a day. You're going to have to pee with me. You're going to have to sleep with me. You're going to have to eat with me because, this cutting is not going to continue and not on my watch. Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. I've done everything from that extreme to the, I just can't stand teenagers. They just make me crazy, and totally separated and checked out of it, neither of which really works. Mm-hmm. I'm somewhere in the middle lies the choice that can be made. And really what it came down to was like, what do you know? What are you experiencing?
Yeah.
And what is it that I can contribute to you?
Yeah.
Wow. Yeah. I so appreciate your candor, Julie. That's just amazing because, nobody gives parents rule books. And I think we tend to do what, like you said, it just gets handed down. And the whole culture is teens are difficult. It's just a phase. I mean, there's so many of those, what do you call them? I can't even think. Those phrases that are actually just, they mean nothing. And they're excuses for not being present and not being aware and not really asking the difficult questions. So I really, really appreciate that. So what could change here? Christy, what would you like to see, like in your friends' lives and your life in terms of all of that?
I would like to see acceptance, allowance, and support. I want to see, instead of parents freaking out and giving them either the choice to go to the hospital or the choice, like my mom did, to follow the kid around 24/7 and just not even focusing on the problem and how they got there. It's about fixing it and, oh, don't make me look like a bad parent, or, oh, I am a bad parent because this happened. It's about, what's going on, and actually asking if they need help, or that's the whole point. Ask if they need help, because I know that sometimes it is necessary. It's necessary to say, I need to go to the hospital, or I need to go to therapy, or any of that. And, or sometimes it's just like, can you please just give me some support? Sometimes it just takes someone to talk to. And there's such a huge difference between, I was talking about this Mom, we were talking about this on our last show, that, I was hanging out with some friends on the outdoor mall, and there was this girl, and she came up to my friend who has some pretty, big scars on her legs, and she was wearing shorts. And the girl was like, hey, I just wanted to say you guys seem like a great bunch and everything. And she pointed to my friend's legs, and she's like, those will heal and everything will be better in the end. And she just showed my friend her arm, and she had old scars too. And that's the kind of support system that needs to happen. Not, you need to go get help immediately, this isn't going to happen anymore, not in my house or anything,
Yeah, it was that acknowledgement. So she acknowledged it, and she didn't make it wrong. It's just like, oh, you're going through something. I was there too. I'm acknowledging that. And you know what? Those have been before, and I'm here.
Exactly. Like, if you need support, you can have it, but it's not forced on the person. That's the kind of support that I'd like to see.
I think that's wonderful. And I'd like to talk more about what true support looks like from friends and family and parents and schools and the whole country when we get back from break. So we're going to break now, and we'll be back in just a couple of minutes.
The Real Conscious Connection. OMTimes Radio. IOM FM.
Eros Evolution is where sexuality and spirituality meets. Join me, clinical sexologist Martha Tara Lee, on Eros Evolution on Thursdays, 4 p.m. Eastern on OMTimes Radio.
Host your show on IOM FM, the radio network of OMTimes Media, one of the more recognized brand names in the conscious community, and is backed by the extensive marketing reach of OMTimes. Hosting a show on IOM FM immediately connects you with our extensive dedicated community. Have you ever wondered how to change your love paradigm? The secret key is finding a love partnership, not just a regular connection. How do you find these? Through conscious relationships. Ascending Hearts Dating is a dating site for people like you that believes in second chances and a different type of spiritual connection. Try Ascending Hearts for free today at ascendinghearts.com and change your love paradigm. Ascending Hearts, the premier dating community for the spiritually awake.
The truth is, you can't change the world if you're broke. I know, I tried. Isn't it time you turned your life's calling into a profitable, freedom-based business? I'm Michelle Barr. Join me every Thursday at 2 p.m. Eastern for Sacred Success.
The best of holistic, spiritual, and conscious world. OMTimes Radio. IOM FM.
And welcome back to the Irreverent Therapist. We have Christy Perkins, teen extraordinaire, and her mother, Julie Perkins, also mom extraordinaire.
Thank you.
And we have probably more or less 10, 11, 12 minutes left, but we were talking about support and what real support is, which is not, I need to hustle you off to the hospital, or I need to trail you day and night, 24/7. What you said, Julie, we're going to pee together.
Yeah, like, absolutely.
So, and support, I mean, we were just touching on this right at the end. It seems to be just saying, hey, I get what you're going through, and what can I do to help? And what do you require? It's actually asking questions.
Yeah.
Anything you'd like to add to that, or?
It's about offering help if they want it, if they truly want to change and get better, then just offering that. That's what true support looks like for me. None of my friends ever, come on, talk to me, spit it out. I used to have friends who did that. Let's go, because it was really toxic having that pushed on me, and it made me uncomfortable. It made me just close up even more, because I felt so scared that if I told them anything, then it would be forced upon me to go get help or be exposed when I didn't want to be. I just wanted to be supported. And that helped me quit all of my addictions faster than being wheeled off to the hospital would have,
Absolutely. Yeah. I mean, the success rate of treatment centers is dismal, despite what you hear. If you actually Google it, it's ridiculous. But, and one of the things that you're bringing up that I think is so crucial here is it's an honoring of each individual, and that they have choice.
Mm-hmm.
They have choice in what they do. They have choice in what they're going to tell you. Are there times, like if somebody's obviously mainlining a lot of heroin, would I say an intervention? Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
And don't forget the questions. It's never about the drug. Okay, now I feel like I'm preaching.
Oh, no, go for it. Yeah.
I work a lot with addiction, and I've worked with a lot of teens. It's never about the drugs, really. It's always about what's going on in their lives. And one of the things that I was talking to Gary Douglas, the founder of Access, about was it's a lot about kids not seeing that they actually have options.
Mm-hmm.
And that sort of goes back to when the interview that I had, where this guy's like, we're told that our only option is to grow up and go into the corporate world. And these were wealthy kids. We're not talking even about the teens in the ghetto who really, don't see any options. So I just wonder what's possible in letting teens know that there are more options out there. There are choices that they can make. They do have support. Christy, how many teens do you think feel really isolated?
More than can even be counted.
Wow.
There's so many aspects to how that isolation can happen. That's just so common. And some of the loveliest people I know are addicted to drugs or alcoholics or have scars all over their body. Some of the most fantastic people that are alive on this earth are so self-destructive because they're told, because of their difference and their creativity and actually being able to be themselves, which wasn't what people really did before,
right,
that somehow they're going nowhere, and they just see this dead end, which it kind of puts them just right in the spot with drugs and alcohol, right where it would become, it would be like it's necessary to them. That's
it's necessary almost to survive, to numb out. Because, one of the things that I've gotten both working with teens and all the work I do with addiction is that there's always this sense of the wrongness of self. And a lot of times with the teens I've worked with, I mean, this obviously isn't true in every case, but they don't know that it's okay to acknowledge that their dad is a total mean jerk.
Exactly.
Or that their mom is not present and is not giving them the nurturing and loving and support that they really required. It's like they take it all.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yes. I would like to see so much more of that, because I know, I keep saying that I know people. It's because it's just, this is so common in my world and my friends' worlds. It's just, there's people whose dads aren't present and are out getting drunk and cheating on their spouses, and people have to be raised by that.
Yes.
And, that's not, when people say, oh, you have to love your parents and your family is always going to be the number one people there for you, it drives me crazy, because there are people who don't have perfect families.
In fact, there are many people who don't have a parent that actually has ever truly listened to them.
Exactly.
Yeah. And I'm very aware of that.
And I think that's the key, Marilyn, the listening. So it's one thing to have the courage and commitment to have these courageous conversations going both ways.
Yes.
Being able to ask the questions, but then being truly present and really listening.
Mm-hmm.
Because if you were really listening, you would know when it's time to call 911 or the ambulance and get that rush to the hospital. Mm-hmm. And usually, 99% of the time, it's not.
Right.
It's just what it's been made to be as scary and significant and God awful and must be taken care of in this way. Right. That's just the imprint, the paradigm for how these things are handled. And that's why we want to, contribute to the change of that.
Absolutely. Absolutely.
Mm-hmm. That's what I would call good support. Ask questions and really listen.
Yeah. Mm-hmm. Yeah. I think you could teach some parenting groups, Julie.
Yeah.
I'd be delighted. If there's any way that I can contribute to taking the shortcut, around that jungle that I slogged through, I'd be happy to
you
let
have
people
the
know about that.
Yeah. I only have it from the point of view of being a therapist. But what I see that really obviously as a therapist, I listen, but also just letting kids know they're not wrong and bad. And being different is actually an asset. Every single great thing that's ever been done in this world, from art to literature to politics, Picasso, Nelson Mandela, whoever you want to look at, has been done by someone who was different.
Mm-hmm.
And some of them had the support, some of them didn't, some of them just slogged ahead on their own. But I think it's so crucial to let people know that fitting in is not the greatest goal in the world.
Exactly.
Yeah.
It's so important to me that, being different is so great. And once teens know that they have that choice and that they can choose for themselves, they start that whole mental thing of, oh, I hate myself and I'm blaming everything on myself, and that endless cycle of it all coming back to you.
Yeah.
It's like, oh my God, it hits you in the face like a brick. You finally just realize how beautiful this can be.
Yeah.
And how being your own best friend is one of the most, just to any teens who might listen to this, being your own best friend is so important. And you can start by choosing one little thing you like about yourself. Even if it's one strand of hair, find something, because you're so important. Every single teen and every person, but really every person who's shaping this future is so important and so beautiful and creative, and everybody has these just galaxies inside their head, and that's what needs to come out in the world. And you don't have to be in that place anymore. You can choose, and you don't have to hurt yourself or be in that place any longer.
Wow, I'm blown away. That is awesome. We just have about 2 minutes left. Is there anything else you'd like to say to teens or parents or anyone, Christy?
Dear parents, listen to your teens. Dear teens, choose and be yourself. Be your beautiful, bright, amazing self, and know that you're not alone, even if you feel like there's not a single person in the world who gives a damn about you. Just me, come
cool.
Find me somehow,
Yeah, and tell us about the radio show, Christy, and where else people can find you.
Yes, Teens Done Different is live every Monday at, I think it's 6 p.m. Central Time.
6 p.m. Central, right?
Mm-hmm.
7 p.m. Eastern.
And it's on a2zen.fm. And we talk a lot about these issues, and I'd be happy to talk to anybody through my mom's website, julioperkins.com, or from the Teens Done Different Facebook page, just Teens Done Different on Facebook. But yeah.
That's awesome. That's awesome. And what do you know of any other resources or what kids else can help kids or teens? Is there anything else that comes to mind? Hello? Did I lose you?
Can you hear me okay?
Yeah, I can. The last minute. That's interesting.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And I always recommend Dr. Dane Heer's Being You, Changing the World book and the free Google Hangouts.
Oh, cool. They are
good for the moms and dads, good for the parents, good for the teens. Everybody be willing to get a sense of your own self, and that's a great place to start.
If that's a big step for you, there are support systems online. There are apps and all kinds of social media websites that can help with this, with issues, any issues that you might have. If you are in a bad place, always look up suicide hotlines, self hotlines. Yes. There's so many support systems on the internet, and there's also a lot of local shelters that not a lot of people know about, and there's not a lot of awareness about. There's so many.
Yeah, thank you all so much. This was just awesome, and I very, very much appreciate you coming on the show and being just so much you and the contribution that you've been. So I'm very grateful for you. Thank you.
Thank you so much.
Thank you, Marilyn. See you soon.
Okay, sounds good.